Mrs. Davis. Mrs. Davis.
Yes, honey.
That's Mrs. Davis, Mrs. Boynton. I'm Miss Brooks, such as I am. We've got company, Mrs. Davis.
Oh, she came in the front way, did she?
Yes, she's right here in the living room.
Well, you tell her she's a wicked cat and put her under the piano.
Yes, Mrs. Davis. You're a wicked cat and get under the... Oh, no. Oh, you'll have to forgive me, Mrs. Boynton. I didn't expect you until after dinner.
Oh, well, that's perfectly all right, Miss Brooks. As a matter of fact, I owe you an apology for not recognizing you. But it was rather dim in here.
Not dim enough. Where's Mr. Boynton? Or should I say, where are Mr. Boynton? Or Mrs. Boynton? Where's everybody?
Well, they had a little trouble parking the car, and I wanted to meet you myself first anyway. Philip's written so much about you. You must see an awful lot of each other.
Well, we do teach at the same school. I understand you were a teacher at one time, Mrs. Boynton.
Yes, indeed, for many years.
Well, it's remarkable. You still look so well fed. Youthful.
May we come in?
Oh, it's the boys. Hello, Philip, my dear.
Hello, Mom. Well, I see you two have met.
Yes, indeed. We're old friends by now.
Well, here she is, Dad.
You slipped me 5, my dear.
5 what? Oh, fingers. How do you do, Mr. Boynton?
Well, I do pretty well for an old codger.
Old codger?
It caught you that time, didn't I?
I told you, what a sense of humor.
He's hot stuff, all right.
Hey, Phil's written us all about you, my dear. I hear you're just like a mother to Miss Brooks, Mrs. Davis.
This house dress has got to go.
This isn't Mrs. Davis, Harvey.
It isn't?
Oh, of course not, Dad. This is Miss Brooks. Why are we all standing out here in the hall?
Yes, let's all go in and stand in the living room. Follow me, please. Well, here we are. Now then, Mrs. Boynton, if you'll just come over to this lamp, that's a very comfortable place to stand. Mr. Boynton, you stand over there by the piano.
I don't understand, Miss Brooks. Where are all the chairs?
They're out being recovered. I didn't expect you for hours yet, Mr. Boynton. This is a terrible thing to do to anybody.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Brooks, but it couldn't be helped. You see, there was a convention in town, and I couldn't get the folks' accommodations anywhere. You know how big my room is, and, well, I wondered if you and Mrs. Davis could put the folks up for the weekend.
Why, Philip, I'm surprised at you. You know better than to whisper in front of others.
No, I'm sorry, Mother. I was just explaining our predicament to Miss Brooks. She was saying how delighted she'd be to have you stay for a couple of days.
Well, now, that's what I call whopping hospitality.
It's a whopper, all right.
I wish you'd give me a hand with the garbage, Connie. I just can't... Oh, I beg your pardon.
This is Mr. and Mrs. Boynton, and this, contrary to popular opinion, is Mrs. Davis.
How do you do?
Hello, Mrs. Davis.
Good afternoon, Mrs. D. Nice little place you've got here.
I just invited the folks to spend the weekend with us, Mrs. Davis. If you don't mind my doubling up with you, I figured they could have my room.
Oh, that's perfectly all right. Oh, dear, the upholsterer. You folks must be tired after your trip. Why don't you go to bed?
Bed? It's only 4:30 in the afternoon.
Oh, Mrs. Davis was only kidding, Mrs. Boynton. She's got quite a sense of humor, too.
Now, just remember one thing, Mrs. Davis. You can't kid a kidder, kiddo.
Doesn't he get off some cracks, Mrs. Davis?
Yes, he's a Jim dandy. Now, if you folks will just follow me, I'll show you to your room. Or rather, Miss Brooks's room.
Well, I could do with a bit of freshening up at that.
Oh, nonsense, Mother. You're as fresh as the day I got you. Oh, now, cut it out, Dad.
Yes, cut it out, Dad. Oh, what
Please, Harvey, stop. I don't know where he gets some of his ideas. He's terribly original, don't you think, Miss Brooks?
Oh, a second Oscar Hammerstein, Mrs. Boynton. Or to put it another way, the corn is as high as the elephant's eye.
Well, Miss Brooks certainly has a comfortable room, Harvey.
Yes, indeed. That shower and a little cat nap's just what the doctor ordered.
Tell me, Harvey, what do you think of Miss Brooks?
Well, it's hard to tell in that outfit she had on, but once she combs her hair and climbs out of that gunny sack, I'll bet she's a looker.
Yes, but what is she looking for?
Oh, now, Mother, you think that every girl who meets him immediately sets her cap for Philip. Hey, what's this package on the dresser here? It says, for Mother. Must be for you.
Oh, wasn't that thoughtful of Miss Brooks? She got a Mother's Day gift for me when she heard I was coming. I'm going to open it right now.
Oh, but Mother's Day isn't until Sunday.
Well, you know I'd never have the patience to wait. Let's see. Why, what's this? A black sheer negligee.
Well, happy Mother's Day.
Well, this can't be for me.
Hey, look, this card fell out when you opened the package. It says for baby from her goodie.
Well, so it belongs to Miss Brooks. Harvey, you don't think that Philip would...
Ooh, certainly not. He wouldn't have nerve enough to ask for that in the store.
Well, I'm going to find out just where this came from. Oh, Miss Brooks.
Yes, Mrs. Boynton?
Would you come here a moment, please?
Certainly, Mrs. Boynton. What can I do for you?
Well, I opened the package by mistake and found this inside of it.
A black sheer negligee.
There was a card with it that said, for baby from Goody.
Goody? Oh, that must be short for Osgood. Why, of course, that was Mr. Conklin's gift.
Mr. Conklin, the principal of Madison High?
Yes, isn't he a devil? He asked me to keep it for him so his wife wouldn't discover it before Mother's Day.
Oh, it's for his wife.
Oh, yes, who did you think it was for? Don't answer that. I can tell from the position of your eyebrows.
My eyebrows?
Yes, Mrs. Boynton. You'd better drop them a notch. You're pushing back your hairnet.
Well, it certainly was nice of you to invite us all to dinner, Mrs. Davis.
Yes, indeed. It's delicious, too.
Thank you, both of you. But Miss Brooks is the one who deserves the credit. She prepared it all.
Oh, come now, Mrs. Davis. You opened every bit as much as I did.
Beef stew, isn't it?
There's beef represented in it, yes.
Eat it slowly, Philip.
Yes, Mother.
Yeah, they say your stomach has no teeth, but maybe it's just as well. If it got too hungry, it could chew off your suspender button.
He always gets me when I've got a mouthful.
Now, Philip, he's such a baby.
Yes. He's nothing but a great, big, overgrown kid.
Now, that's funny. That's the same phrase that Philip used in describing you in one of his letters.
Well, she is, Mother. You ought to see her around the school. Why, the students just treat her like one of themselves.
Oh, yes, indeed. We kids have some great old times together.
Oh, I'm glad. I like Philip to have lots of youthful friends. The younger, the better.
Well, they don't come much younger or better than Miss Brooks, Mother.
Well, thank you, Mr. Boynton.
Call me Philip tonight.
I'll answer it, Connie. Excuse me, folks.
I wonder who that could be.
Well, come in, kids. Hi, Mrs. Davis. We're a committee.
Who is it, Mrs. Davis?
Walter and Harry and Connie. I'll bring them in. Oh, we didn't mean to disturb you, Miss Brooks.
Oh, that's all right, Walter. I was just telling the folks how informal we are at Madison. Mr. and Mrs. Boynton, may I present Walter Denton and Harriet Conklin?
How do you do, How are you? And now, Miss Brooks, we would like to present something to you that expresses the devotion and reverence felt toward you by the entire student body.
What is it, Walter?
It's a shawl. A shawl and a handsome pair of knitting needles to go with the rocking chair to which you're so attached.
Rocking chair, but...
Oh, I'm not finished, Mrs. Boynton. Miss Brooks, you have been chosen our mother away from mother.
Oh, no.
I'll go to the piano, Walter, and you sing the song we've written. Okay, Harriet. Wait till you hear this, folks. Pause that, Walter. The B stands for the books she helps us study. The R is for she's righteous, also pure. The O is for the fact that she's our buddy. The second O is likewise, I am sure. The K is for okay. She rates a bow. The S is for her sadly wrinkled brow. She's motherly, just like Elsie the cow. Miss Brooks We love you dearly.
Miss Brooks, that's me. I'll always be Miss Brooks.
As Our Miss Brooks returns in just a moment, but first...
Dream girl, beautiful luster cream girl.
Tonight, show him how much lovelier your hair can look after a Luster Cream shampoo. Only Luster Cream brings you Kay Daumit's magic formula blend of secret ingredients plus gentle lanolin. Gives loveliness lather even in hardest water. Glamorizes your hair as you wash it. Luster Cream. Not a soap, not a liquid, but a dainty cream shampoo. Leaves hair fragrantly clean, free of loose dandruff, glistening with sheen, soft, manageable. Gives new beauty to all hairdos or permanents. 4-ounce jar, $1. Smaller sizes, either tubes or jars. Tonight, try Luster Cream Shampoo and be a
dream girl, beautiful luster cream girl. You owe your crowning glory to our luster cream shampoo.
And now, once again, here is Our Miss Brooks.
Well, several days later, Friday night came to an end. As I escorted Mr. Boynton to the front door, he was in a strangely mellow mood.
You know, Miss Brooks, I'm a man of many dreams, but more often than not, I find I'm shooting too high.
Shooting too high, Mr. Boynton?
Well, yes, in trying to find the right girl, for instance. It seems that subconsciously I'm always looking for a girl who's just like my mother. Attractive, yet sweet and unselfish.
Well, don't give up the search, Mr. Boynton. Someday you're liable to find such a girl right under your nose. And I think that's a very nice location.
What I mean is, when you gave up your room for Mother, I suddenly realized that you're not only attractive, but also sweet and unselfish. So, Miss Brooks, instead of just shaking hands like we usually do...
Yes, Mr. Boynton?
I'd like to say goodnight to you the way I do to my mother. With a kiss.
A kiss, Mr. Boynton?
Yes, on the forehead.
There you go, shooting too high again.
Next week, tune into another Our Miss Brooks show brought to you by Palmolive Soap, your beauty hope, and Luster Cream Shampoos for soft, glamorous, caressable hair. Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden, is produced by Larry Burns, written and directed by Al Lewis, with music by Wilbur Hatch. Mr. Boynton is played by Jeff Chandler, Mr. Conklin by Gail Gordon. Others in tonight's cast were Jane Morgan, Dick Crenna, Gloria McMillan, Frank Nelson, and Myra Marsh.
Men, do you shave with a lather or brushless shave cream? Palmolive shaving cream comes both ways. And whichever way you prefer to shave, you'll find that using Palmolive brushless or Palmolive lather shaving cream can bring you more comfortable, actually smoother shaves. Here's the proof. 2,548 men tried the new Palmolive way to shave described on the tube. And no matter how they had shaved before, 3 out of every 4 got more comfortable, actually smoother shaves. Get Palmolive brushless or Palmolive lather shaving cream today.
For mystery liberally sprinkled with laughs, listen to Mr. and Mrs. North.